Hi, everyone. It's good to see you all. Actually, I'm not even seeing you. But you know, when you make a video, and I don't have notes before my videos, I might get an idea. I want to talk about this subject. Sometimes I'll have little things jotted, but I have to work very, very live at the point. And I sometimes don't know exactly what I'm going to say when I press that little button on the computer. But when making a video, there's a part of you that knows that some people will hear it. How can you keep natural in the midst of that? And plus, I have to keep looking at myself. Even if I look up into the light a little bit, into the camera, I can still see myself. So it brings up an interesting point to me. Can a person be natural by themselves? Can a person be natural? Can they be themselves by themselves? That's a fantastic question. There's all sorts of things lined up in that. But I realized I haven't made a video since the Frequency Bones Summer Music Connection series this past summer, 2016, where I did the recovery series where I was starting to play again after having heart surgery and taking 3 months off. And I've been playing since that time, sometimes an hour a day. I'll play with my students, you know. I'll pick up my horn and hit some high note like that, just in case they think I can't play. Because you all know that it's easy at a certain point for someone to go, wow, if it's something they can't do. If it's something they can do, many times they just think that, oh, what's the big deal? I can do that. That's another kind of cholesterol. You know that song, anything you can do, I can do better. Well, it's like anything you can do, so what? And that speaks of an attitude. An attitude. An attitude can help you be new every day, or just get deeper and deeper into a dark hole. Your attitude is a combination of your beliefs, your life to date. Now you might have a whole stockpile of attitudes in there. Do you access them? Or do they just kind of filter through you habitually, leading you down one path or another? Who's holding the reins of the chariot? The horses of that chariot. Are you friends with them? All this has to do with your time as a musician and practicing and performing and all of this stuff. Maybe it's terminology that to some people it's too difficult to follow because used to maybe someone just talking about very, very trombone things all the time. But it's a part of life. It's a part of your life, isn't it? Is life inside of this part of life, or is this a kind of a separate little entity? It's just a question. It's not really a judgment on my part at all. For me, it's a living thing. Plain, wonderful, and simple. And attitude comes into it so importantly. I was thinking this morning when I got up, wow, January 1st, 2017. If I went back in time let's see, when I was 20, if I could go back into the body I had when I was 20, could probably do some really impressive things. Now, you have to listen more for the impressive things, unless I pick up my horn and hit a high F like a bell right off the bat, first note of the day. And then people think, oh, maybe because they can't do it. Or other things that someone can't do. I can do several things people can't do. But so what? What is it used for? To still some of the psychologies at play. Oh, he still plays. Because I'm hearing that people are saying that I'm not playing. Just because I'm not doing every gig in town or playing with an orchestra doesn't mean I'm not playing. Doesn't mean I don't have a relationship with the instrument and with people who are playing, which has been nonstop for over 50 years, working with people. No doctorate student could know what I know. Sorry, all you guys and gals who've gotten your degrees. It's just a fact. I'm not saying in time you won't have great wealth of information and perception come your way. And that depends on your attitude, of course. What kind of attitude? How are you going to look at your students? As yours? Now, I wrote a blog post on December 30th to my students. That's on the Frequency Bone blog. And you can Google Frequency Bone, Norman Bolter's blog, or just Norman Bolter's blog, and I'm sure it'll get you to the Frequency Bone. It's the most current post up there from a couple days ago. And there's a lot of really good things in it, I think, for those who can hear. And when I say for those who can hear, I mean the very fact that not everyone can hear it. Certain things at certain points in their life. Sometimes you have to wait until you're at a particular place where something that was once said all of a sudden makes sense. Or you can see it, that perspective at least, even if you haven't taken it on board as your own. So, some things to think about. I know people like to be told everything, but there's some things that can't be told at any given point in time. And not only that, if a person keeps on discovering, more and more will come to them. naturally. I felt like standing up and playing at that given time. Now, don't let that fool you. That doesn't mean everything I do is just spontaneous. It's a blend. We live in a dualistic universe. Many things exist all at the same time. I touched on this in my blog post. I also gave an interesting exercise about what to do with some long tones. And people are thinking, how is this going to help me practice for my festival auditions? Well, for some of you, you might really be thinking about your festival auditions or your auditions for graduate school or your auditions for orchestras or chamber music groups or military bands or whatever you're thinking about. So even though that would seemingly be in the future, you might be thinking about it now. So something happens before it happens. And that is the key, one of the keys to getting inside of the causative worlds, where attitude is a very big part of it. And how you think about things and how you project to things is a very important part of it. And I also want to say something I think that is very important in this odd collection of things on the video. Do you accept the fact that if you don't win an audition or get into the school that you want to get into, it doesn't mean you failed? It does not mean you failed. If you, for some reason in your whole life, could never hit a double high B flat or a high F, or a note you think is high, it doesn't mean you failed. What it could tell you is, have you experimented enough? But not just, okay, I'll do this for a minute, I'll do that for a minute, I'll do this for a minute. Have you taken on board things for a month at a time? Did you ever think that certain things could take 10 years? And this is where education gets involved. This person wrote me I didn't ask their permission, so I can't say who it is right now. But this person asked me about what would I see as a master of music program in trombone. What is my idea of it? Where someone could improve on their instrument and still have self-improvement. I thought it was a very interesting question. I don't know. And I will say this person said they've watched a lot of my videos. So they thought I'd be a good person to ask about this. I'm not sure that that I could design a Master of Music program, because already Master of Music, if you're looking at it in terms of in a school, the schools the way they are now, I'm not sure I could design one in that particular ecology that would be to my satisfaction. For I don't see a school really being a manufacturing plant, even though it's a place to go to get the skills and experience needed to be able to compete in getting a job. And then feeling like you're equipped to go out into the workplace. But because my experience was so different, I have a different way of relating to that. Even though I can't even tell you how many students, I've been teaching at the college level since 1975, where I have students in all sorts of orchestras, from Chicago to Minneapolis to Pittsburgh to national, to just a lot of different places, okay? In those orchestras. And freelancers and teachers and professors. I'm interested in them. I've had very talented people come up to me and say, you know what, I really want to do this instead. I said, great. If that's where your life is taking you, great. Other people, they want to stick with it, even though maybe life is showing them this is going to be a hard road for them. And they have other abilities that actually they're more natural at and could probably make, in cultural terms, a good living. But maybe they wouldn't be living well if they did it. Now, just because you're good at something doesn't mean you're going to be happy doing it and live a good life. So I think college should be a time where you're actually learning what you need. You're taking another step in looking at yourself and what you want and what's calling you or not calling you, or what's saying stay away. So what about a master's in life with music as a part of it? That's what I would design. And I think people that come to study with me know that there's going to be a flavor of that coming in. And I think the people who have studied with me, I would hope by majority, would think I was for them, not for what I wanted them to be. Because I want them to be what they, should I say, were meant to be. And that's part of the discovery. And now we have a new year. Well, you all know that a lot of people start New Year's resolutions today. Okay, there could be a lot of interesting reasons why that's a good day. But you ever think, and I wrote this in my blog post, what about it's a new month. This month I'm gonna, okay, it's a new week. It's a new day. And it gets really interesting when you realize it's a new moment. Always. I wish you all nothing but the best. Happy New Year, new month, new week, new day, new hour, new minute, new second, new.